Okay, a question about the draft. This is a long one from Joe in London, Ohio. Hey, Mary Kay, with it being draft week, it's hard not to place a ton of emphasis on how well a GM drafts. It feels like most fans' expectations of their GM's drafting ability sky high or dependent on how one or two first round picks panned out. He goes on to say that it seems like, most GMs will hit every once in a while. He cites John Schneider, who hit on the Legion of Boom picks. Then it was sort of up and down, and now they seem to have hit again. The question here, though, that he's getting to is, hey, Mary Kay, how much of a GM's success should be tied to their drafting, and how much of it is tied to other things?
You know what? I think it should be tied to other things. I mean, look at the Rams, okay? They are not putting a whole bunch of stock into the draft, but if you win a Super Bowl, nobody's going to ask too many questions about how you got there and where you got your players, how you acquired them. It seems to me, for the most part, that where the Browns are right now in terms of, this moment in time, they're using the draft as their farm system. They're using their draft to have a pipeline of players for down the road for the most part. And what they're doing is they're using free agency and trades a lot to get the talent that they need. They're letting, other teams have, really made these players successful, and then they're buying them or trading for them or whatever the case may be. And so I don't think you can just be judged on your drafting alone as a GM. When you look at this roster, you can see that there will probably be some Pro Bowl players this year that didn't necessarily come from Andrew Berry's drafts. But if you trade for an Amari Cooper and he makes the Pro Bowl, then that counts against you acquiring a Pro Bowl player or acquiring and helping to develop a Pro Bowl player. If Deshaun Watson makes the Pro Bowl, well, that was your first round pick for 3 straight years. So does that mean that should be a knock against you? Or did you just do a good job in trading away those picks and acquiring an elite quarterback? Same thing with some other players. If Elijah Moore happens to make the Pro Bowl this year, that's kind of your second round pick from this year. What did you do? You moved back 32 spots from 42 to 74, and you ended up with potentially a Pro Bowl player over the next couple of years. So I don't think you should be judged on your drafts alone. I think it should be globally your player acquisition skills.
Yeah, it's about the team build as a whole, and there's various levels to that. And in the case of Andrew Berry, we're going through a phase right now where his picks we're talking third rounders for his top picks. We're not talking first and second rounders outside of obviously a Greg Newsome, JOK, those picks. But we're going into a draft where his first pick is going to be at 74, and the reality is once you get out of that first round, who knows? I mean, if you're hitting at 50%. That's pretty great. So, you're going to miss, like, even you pick the best GM and you go through their draft history, especially third, fourth, fifth rounders, you're going to see names that you don't even remember existed. But if you can find those one or two like diamonds in the rough each year, that can kind of make or break how your drafts look.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you think about it, 2022 and 2023, the drafts, because of the Deshaun Watson trade and other moves, these drafts started for them in the third round. Now, generally, when you get to the third round, you're hoping that you get guys that will be able to contribute for you on a rotational basis or become starters in a couple of years. And you're not necessarily hoping to find or counting on finding your Pro Bowl players in the third round and beyond. Where you find the Pro Bowl caliber players usually is in the first and second round. Well, they haven't had a first and second rounder in the last couple of years, but I think it is time to start looking at the first and second rounders from previous years to see what the situation is going to be there, right? So if you look at Jed Wills, if you look at Grant Delpit, if you look at Greg Newsome, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, those are the players that you are going to be expecting should be in a Pro Bowl sometime soon. That's what you want to be doing. You want to be drafting those really high quality, high caliber players in those first 2 rounds. So the jury is still out on some of those guys. Let's see what happens over the next 2 years.
Okay, so that's a nice lead into this next question from Tom in Middlebury, Connecticut. Hey, Mary Kay, given the